Hello guys, welcome to another Dominion 6 unit showcase. Today we're going to be looking at early age ULM. Last time we took a look to Nidavellir, which is the Nordic faction. These guys are also Germanics, so you will find them a little bit similar in some ways and different in others. So let's start by reading a little bit of the lore. It says, Ulm is a land of cold mountains and dense forests. These wild lands were settled by proud and fierce barbarians in ages past. Their ancestry has made the inhabitants of the forests stronger and more resilient to the cold climate than ordinary men. Upon becoming men, youngsters are given a single knife and left in the forest at first snowfall. Those who survive the winter are allowed to return to their family. The barbarians of Ulm live in small settlements ruled by chieftains and warrior-smiths who search for the enigma of steel. Steel is a sacred metal, and its maker is as well. Smithing has become the equivalent of making a sacrifice to the Lord, and no other culture has developed such skill in forging magical items. Horses are rare, and those who use them in warfare are held in contempt. Sneak attacks, on the other hand, are common, and many warriors use stealth to engage opponents in hand-to-hand combat. So, as you can tell, these guys are really badass, really strong, and not fearless actually. They have 11 morale. That's better than a normal troop. That's better than regular infantry. But I thought it would be actually higher, the morale. But again, these boys, the axe warriors, will suffer a lot. They will suffer even more than their counterparts, the sword warriors, because they dual wield axes, so that's pretty good for damage output and attack. You could say, well, not attack, because actually axes have 0 bonus to attack and have 1 minus defense modifier, because of the weapon. So we're talking about a heavy defense. Very low defense, regular attack, 10 attack, which is pretty average. They're actually quite fast, 13 combat speed, tougher than normal, 13 hit points, and they're stronger than normal humans. They're stronger by a lot, so they have 12 strength. So axe warriors, in my opinion, are more for dealing with giants. If you know what I mean, you know, half giants, maybe Jotuns, the normal kind, not the Nifl dudes, the normal Jotuns, because the axe is very, very good at dealing a lot of damage, but they will take a lot of damage in return. And if you're taking provinces early on in the game, these guys will take very heavy attrition from the battles. And also, I like to play with Strength of Independence 9. So I like to fight a lot of independents in each battle. So each battle is like this massive, or at least this big, or semi-big affair. And yeah, and axe warriors, even in large numbers, always get a lot of casualties. Now, sword warriors. These guys don't have, these guys don't have ranged weapons. But what they do have is a broadsword, and a broadsword gives you a +1 to defense and 1+ to attack. And because they only have 10 attack, that attack with their broadsword is really good. And they also tend to die slower because they have higher defense skill. And also, if, for example, you have I mean, it's still this is not optimal, but it's not as bad as the fucking 7 defense skill from the axe warrior. So now the difference is these guys don't get a ranged weapon, they don't get throwing axes. But again, I think the normal warriors, the sword warriors, because as you can see, these upon coming of age, every man makes his choice of weapon. So these guys choose the sword, and the axe warriors choose the axe. And my recommendation would be to use axe warriors for heavily armored, and most preferably to use them against half giants or giant opponents. And use normal warriors, sword warriors, for indies and other, you know, regular troops. We have the archer. Oh, and by the way, both of these boys are stealthy. Oh, the archer is not stealthy. The archer is Olmec gal. She's trained in warfare and is pretty good at shooting arrows, which is really good. 11 precision, that is very good for an archer. Normal attack, normal defense. Again, no stealth, so if you have to recruit archers, which honestly I wouldn't recommend unless you're fighting an enemy that requires to be countered with archers, like for example elves, then you would rather recruit the warrior maiden. Has even more precision, 12 precision, and same hand-to-hand combat skills, but has more armor. And this is very important. Now, these boys, the forest and the mountain warriors, are not stealthy, but they trade stealth for more armor, so they become now proper medium infantry with 13 protection. They also they get a bonus to their defense and their attack skill, and same strength though, same hit points, and they're not that expensive really in resources wise. Unfortunately, forest warriors don't have normal precision. They have 10 precision for some reason. You know, you would assume that these guys are more accustomed to, are even more accustomed to even throwing axes, so they would have 11 precision. But I mean, let's be honest. Ulm, I mean, lore-wise, Ulm, early age Ulm is fucking metal. But in gameplay, it gets a little bit nerfed, if we're being honest. So yeah, medium infantry, good medium infantry, heavy damage dealer. Again, extremely effective against giants and half giants. Mountain warriors. Again, these guys are the elite versions of the sword warriors. They use a broadsword in action battle, and they have 11 defense and 11 attack. Again, these guys survive a lot more, and yeah, so I think they're better use against indies, in my opinion. But then when you're facing national troops, then you have to combine them, in my opinion. Use these as skirmishers, and then use these as line troops. Again, they're not stealthy. Warrior maidens are stealthy. We already talked about these girls, and the shield maidens. This is the only troop in your whole roster that will use a shield in hand-to-hand combat. And in my opinion, that's not good. But hey, they have good defense, 12 defense skill. They're gals, so they don't have 12 strength, they have 11 strength and 12 hit points instead of the 13. Protection, they have less protection, but they are stealthy. So again, you can mix these girls, these shield warriors, and also steel maidens with your normal warriors to elf pretty hard. She actually has really high defense skill. Actually, 15 defense is pretty good. So she's a very good line holder. Iron warrior. These boys, now their lore, as you can read here. The sons of smiths are trained from birth to fight with war mauls. Those who do not follow their father's trade become iron warriors, respected warriors with heavy armor and war mauls. They are used to fighting loose formations. Now that's cap because 13 prod is not heavy, it's medium. But hey, we'll give it to them. Good attack, 12 attack skill is pretty good. 9 defense skill because of the modifiers, but their basic defense skill is 11. And they do blunt damage. They actually do high blunt damage. So these boys are to engage large enemy monsters and also large enemy cavalry, because they only get one attack. It's a heavy attack, but it's just one. And also they're not stealthy. They have, as all the troops in Ulm have, cold resistant, snow move, mountain survival, and forest survival. So they're still very mobile. especially if you take cold scales. Steel Maidens. Now these girls are pretty elite. Unfortunately, they have 11 defense skill for some reason instead of 12 as their attack. But hey, 2 attacks. Decent-ish protection. It's pretty light. I mean, 11 is pretty light for protection. They will get killed a lot. But hey, that's why they're kind of cheap-ish. 13 resources. Any unit that is below 20 resources, in my opinion, is cheap. Resources-wise, of course. The life is the loss of life is a tragedy, of course. Now these boys are your sacred troops, and my favorite unit of EA ULM, actually. They are very close to my heart, and we'll read the lore. So it says, fatherless children are treated harshly in ULM. They are kept as slaves and brought to the Wheel of Pain, where they are forced to do heavy labor while exposed to the elements. Those few who survive are adopted by the shamans and given training by spirits of ancient swordsmen summoned by the shamans. Steel warriors are sacred and fight with great two-handed swords. So there you have it. They use great swords, high damage dealers, though it's just one attack. The great sword actually gives a lot of bonuses. 1 to attack, 2 to defense, and has length 2. So in theory it can repel easier. 13 attack, that is really good. In fact, I think the Iron Warriors in Dominions 5 also had 13 attack skill, but they got nerfed. And the Steel Warriors always had 13 attack, and I think they had 13 defense. Or no, I think they had 12 too. I don't remember that well. 13 defense, 13 prot, 15 hit points, that's good, that's higher. 13 strength, very good strength for a human. And here's the thing, as you can see, they're actually below 20 resources. And that's because these guys, the Steel Warriors, are gonna die a lot. Now, because they are sacred and they can take a bless. Excuse me. Now, because they are sacred and they can take a bless, you can make a little bit of a bless strategy with them, maybe. You can make them hit more often, boosting their attack skill, or make them more defensive, you know, boosting their defense skill, which is actually works kind of well with these guys. But I would recommend giving them more of a heal-based bless, because they will take a lot of damage. And they will take a lot of damage, and they're not stealthy. So, yeah. I mean, they could benefit from anything, really. You know, a boost to their protection, or a boost to their strength, or attack, or defense skill. Or again, a blast that gives them recuperation, or not really regeneration, because regeneration is only 10%, and these boys only have 15 hit points. So a blast like recuperation would be better than regeneration. And yeah, those are the Steel Warriors. They hit hard, they kill things reliably, but they also get killed reliably in return. So commanders: Warrior Scout, Mountain Survival, Forest Survival, Stealthy, Snow Move, Cold Resistant, Dual Wheels, and has a short bow. The only problem is that you're not going to be really using him in combat, so yeah, don't use him in combat. He's only there for recon. A Warrior Chief. This is a very good commander. Squad morale bonus +1 for up to 3 squads. Has both mountain and forest survival. Is stealthy. So this is your elf leader, really. Your barbarian elf leader. Has 13 attack, 12 defense, 13 strength, 16 hit points. A very good combatant. Again, for a human, he's very good. He's very strong. Although, and the thing is, with Ulm, you have your fortresses produce 25% more resources. So you could actually kit a lot of your warrior chiefs with a lot of magical gear if you wanted to. And they will actually do it quite decently. You know, a great sword of sharpness will help them a lot. Or maybe other equipment. A black steel plate. I always like to give them black steel plates. And black steel helmets. But again, that's your preference. But again, if you already have like cheaper magic items, so you know, and these are good commanders really. So shamans, this is the first of your mages for EA ULM. 1 point in earth, and 1 guaranteed path in fire, earth, death, or nature, and the third path, it's a coin toss. Maybe you get it, maybe you won't. With the same paths: fire, earth, death, and nature. Actually has quite a lot of research abilities for being an inept researcher. As you can see, these guys, an inept researcher, don't use him for research. Use him for searching magic sites and doing ritual spells and all that magic thingy. And also, he's stealthy. So get a battery of these mages, get a battery of shamans, and put them as artillery support for your stealthy armies. Now we have the warrior smith. Oh, and by the way, a little bit of lore. The tribes of Ulm are led by a chieftain, which is this guy, the warrior chief, a shaman, this guy, and a warrior smith. So those are like the 3 leaders of every tribe, of every Ulmic tribe. Now the warrior chiefs are the martial rulers, the shamans are the leaders in spiritual matters, and the smith in judicial matters. So I find that pretty cool. Now warrior smiths, now these boys are your researchers and your forgers. They get a resource bonus 5. This means the unit aids in the production of armaments for new warriors. Extra resources are granted to the fort this unit is located in. So very good. Recruit them. You recruit like 10 of these guys and then you have a shit ton of resources. Forge bonus. The mage is very efficient when forging magic items. The bonus is the cost reduction in gems. So you always get a 1 gem reduction for every magic item you craft, you make, you forge. That is really powerful. Use that. Oh, and they're also sacred. 1 earth in level 1 earth. Guaranteed. 1 path in fire, or air, or water, or earth. And then again the coin toss in the same paths. The Iron Warriors are actually the sons of these warrior smiths. So there you go, the last mage, and my favorite mage, the Antlered Shaman. I just love this sprite. I really love this little sprite. Looks strong, but looks kind of I don't know. I like the antlers. And now, the thing with this guy is that he's not an inept researcher. So when you have 1 or 2 or 3 antlered shamans, maybe you can keep them together researching, or you can deploy them in the armies, your choice. You have he's an earth mage level 2, a nature mage level 2, priest level 1, like the shamans, unfortunately. And because in my opinion they should be like priest level 2 or something. They are really bad priests in Ulm. And you get 1 guaranteed path in fire magic, earth, death, or nature magic, and a 10% chance of getting a 6th path in fire, earth, death, or nature magic. Again, guys, this has been the unit showcase for Ulm. Well, also, these guys are stealthy and do supply bonus. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Supply bonus 20, so they can feed a lot more troops, and they have stealthy, so they will accompany your stealth armies. Also, one thing I was forgetting. Your steel warriors are not stealthy, but with the new paths, for example in Glamour, there's a blast you can use called Obfuscate that makes all sacred units are stealthy. Already stealthy sacreds will become even more difficult to find, so it adds to them stealth 40. Now, you can make steel warriors sacred stealthy troops. And the thing is, if you already gave them well, the thing is, Obfuscate is a heavy bless, so it's 6 bless points. It's pretty expensive, because you could give them, if you took only Glamour, you could give Obfuscate and True Sight, so they become elf killers, and that could be very, very, very helpful actually. But again, that's your personal choice, that's your personal preference. You can try a lot of blesses with these boys. They will become a lot more numerous because of the Minion 6 has larger battles and larger armies and larger everything. So yeah, you can make them finally stealthy sacreds. But I will leave that to you. This has been ULM's Unit Showcase. I hope you liked it. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel. Check it out. And I'll see you, and thank you for watching. And I'll see you next time with another Unit Showcase.